like we do every single weekday. Okay. Guests on the Marks Bay Real Estate Hotline, including our good friend, the Lumberjack, UK's own, Wesley Woodyard. Wes, what's going on?
So you just gonna tease me the whole time and make fun of me while y'all got me on mute? That's okay. I see how this is. I see how this going. What's up, fellas? Good morning. What's up, Nashville, Cashville?
What's up, Wesley Woodyard? Hey.
You know what? In the words of Coach Rich Brooks, great day to be alive and be a Wildcat, gentlemen, even though we lost. Congratulations. Congratulations to UT. I know that was a big program win for you guys. That got you back on track. It sucks, but we will live. We'll fight another day.
Now, before we get into it, we gotta let Wes. You and I are friends, okay? Right?
And we're friends except on days until UT play Kentucky. That's the only time we really ain't friends.
And there's really no limits to what we're gonna say to each other. To me, you, Bud. You don't Rob, like it's full trash talking. Just for clarity, I had somebody say yesterday, you wouldn't say that to Wes. I was like, I say worse things to Wes.
Oh yeah, if they only seen my text message chain, how many times I done got a Michael Jordan crying face sent to me, how many gifts I done got sent to me about Kentucky. It's no holds bar in this friendship here.
So how do you feel about the Tennessee players celebrating on the UK logo at midfield? We had an angry Wildcat fan call up and call them disrespectful and immature. So what do you think of that?
You know what? If you don't want that to happen,
yep.
If you don't want it to happen, then you got to beat them.
Amen.
That's the only thing. You know, it is a rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
It is a bit disrespectful, but what's disrespectful is getting beat. You know, so you ain't nothing you can do about that. Win the game next time, and just remember it. It'll be fuel to the fire. It'll be bulletin board, bulletin material for next year. When we scrape them guys up, we go down there to Knoxville, and you might see some dancing on the tee down there. So, you know, what goes around comes around. But I think my Kentucky guys have a little bit more class than that.
Also on the UK logo was Mark Stoops running out to midfield at the end of that game and getting that penalty.
At that point, what were you thinking, Wes?
No comment on that. No comment on that. I was at a birthday party, so at that point in the game, I was going back live on my phone, so I didn't get really see all of that. But hey, Stoops is a fiery guy, man. So I love Coach Stoops and everything he does. So hey, we just got to win. We got to freaking pull that off.
Yeah, it's three L's in a row, Wes. And I don't want to just keep saying y'all took.
Thanks for letting me know.
I don't want to continue to just keep saying y'all lost the game, but Wes, we got 69 scholarship players, man. We basically got flipped upside down on y'all, and here you go, 40 minutes of offense at your home at night. And I'll say this too, I'm rubbing it in because y'all had a party in Knoxville last year. You text me, I should go back to our text thread right now and just see how disrespectful you were, Wes. So Bud texted me last night because the Titans won. That was huge on them. But he said, let me know when you want to meet up to collect your winnings.
Hey, I think I might owe you a bottle or something. So we'll repay back the debt that you paid me last year. So I'm an honorable man, so I will repay you. But yeah, man, we control that game. It's just like but that's the SEC for you. Any given Saturday, any team can be beat unless you're Alabama. Sometimes every 4 or 5 years you get a loss there for Bama. But you know, man, it's a rivalry game. All that stuff goes out of the window, and it's all about who can control the game, man. At the end of the game, at the right time, capitalizing on red zone turnovers, making people kick field goals. So UT came out on top victorious. I'm not gonna say too much good things about them, but you know, congratulations. Hope y'all can get a bowl game.
Wes, what are you seeing right now with the Titans defense? Because I know what we're seeing, a unit that's playing really, really well.
Yeah, man, a unit that's believing in themselves, a unit that's finding their leaders, a unit that won't be stopped. You know, when you lose a guy like a Derrick Henry, most teams will crumble, most teams will fold, especially going up against what most people say are the favorite in the NFC behind Tampa to reach the Super Bowl. Those guys came out there and didn't care about that. They came out there, they balled out. Jeffrey Simmons is a man child. Kevin Byard, man, I said this, man, that dude there, he's just like, you can't even say enough good things about KB, man. He's a ball hawk, and you can really tell that he loves the Titans. He loves his team, and that passion that he has, the plays that he makes out there on the field, man, I expect to see Kevin Byard retiring as one of the greatest Titans ever to play on this team, man, and in the history, because he's the mayor. He makes big plays, and again, I want to give a special shout out to my special teams unit. Brett Kern is still out there booming. He's one of the biggest underrated defensive players on the Titans team because he makes big plays. And I think, man, when guys just realize that, hey, you know, Derrick was a big part of our season. Let's make this season about him. Let's play for him. You know, you get AP in there. You know, hopefully he got his, you know, he got broke in a little bit. You know, he was running a little bit high. You know, but AP's always been a guy that was a up tall runner. But, man, to get him that touchdown, man, that was a great thing, man. And honestly, that says a lot about, you know, Mike, you know, to believe in AP. Like, hey, we get it down there. We try it once. Let's get this man a touchdown and welcome him to this Titans team like he should be, man. One of the greatest backs of all time. So, man, that was great. A great game plan and a great defensive effort.
So, on the other side of that, we had a national analyst, Marcellus Wiley, kind of just say, you know, well, Tannehill needs to do this, and, you know, they're not a good team. They're just a hot team right now, Wes. So when you've been on teams, I'm sure you've lost a superstar, the guy who was like, man, we can't afford to lose him, the same way everybody look at the Titans losing Derrick Henry. But in your mindset, if you lost a big-time offensive player, what is the defense's mindset as far as making up the hay for a guy like Derrick that's out? Like, you can't say a team isn't good because they're without a guy like Marcellus said. Like, if a team is good and you're winning, you got to acknowledge that, hey, they're picking up the slack for somebody else.
Yeah, that's disappointing, you know. But it's been like that since I've been in Tennessee. The Titans never get enough respect from the national media coverage. But, man, those guys, man, whenever you're big, okay, so Jarrell Casey was our best player on the team forever, for the longest. So when Casey got hurt, it made the offensive guys, you know, step up a little bit more. It made the defensive guys step up a little bit more. So when you see Derrick Henry leave the season for, hopefully he can get him back. We can get him back in the playoffs. But when you lose a guy like Derrick Henry, you know, as a defensive unit, there are going to be a certain amount of plays out there that you get the opportunity to make.
Yeah.
And you got to capitalize on it, and you got to make it. And you saw that in the game last weekend. The Titans capitalized on every chance they got. Simmons came up. David Long made a huge interception that helped the offense out. KB put some points up on the board. So when your defense understands the challenge at hand and they came out there and they showed up on Sunday night and balled out, you know, they welcome that challenge. And that was great to see that unit was like, man, look, we love Derrick, but we don't necessarily need Derrick right now to win. We're going to win this thing for my dog, and we're going to ride for him, and hopefully we can get him back in the future so he can cause problems in the playoffs.
Wes, what do you think of Jayon being back and teaming him up with David Long and Harold Landry? It just seemed like you had a really good mix at linebacker, even with Rashaan Evans out of the game.
Man, that looked really great. That combination with Jayon and David, they made a lot of great plays, and even the commentators were saying a lot of good things about Jayon, you know, getting the defense set. And I think that's one thing that Jayon brings to the table is that, you know, when you're a defensive lineman, you don't want to wait for that close call or the getting the defense set. But what Jayon gives you is that stability in the inside to allow Mike Vrabel or Shane Bourne to, hey, we got this call set up, but we could be potentially changing it based on the personnel. So it's all these little bit of mechanics that go into the play of the defensive schemes that, to me, Jayon gives them a good shot of making plays and at the same time playing solid and sound defense. Because in this part of the season, this latter part of the season with your key offensive guy being out, you got to play sound and you got to play solid. But more importantly, all 11 guys on that defense have to be on the same page. And that was clear what you saw in this past game versus the Rams. That defense was lined up and ready to go every snap.
Yeah. And Wes, this is the thing. So I know as a defender, you guys find a spot to attack. And this past weekend, I just got to ask you this question as far as, you know, a guy like Bobby Hart that kind of got put in a hard spot right there, man. defensively, y'all kind of find your way to find a guy that might be new to the starting lineup, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And go ahead.
Go ahead. My bad.
No, you can go ahead. You finish it.
No, I was just gonna say, man, I learned from Peyton Manning, and I used to sit down with Peyton in the meetings and be like Peyton, like what's your thought process? And he was like, Wes, honestly, a lot of the times I'm trying to find a guy that I can beat. Yeah, I know if I can get 2 touchdowns on this rookie cornerback, I'm gonna go at him. And you saw that this past game, man. That defensive front was relentless. Jeffrey Simmons putting pressure out there, just causing havoc, and not necessarily giving the same look. And when you get an unexperienced guy that's forced into the spotlight, now that's when the game plan schematics take into effect. That's when your games are setting up when a guy that's not really a big moan on the offensive line that's used to seeing stunts in games. They can pick that up. These young guys, these new guys to the front, they really can't adjust that well during game situations, and it shows. But I will say this. Trying to block Jeffrey Simmons one-on-one, that's a no-no for anybody. So if any team is looking to beat the Titans, you better double team those big 98.
Yeah, Wes, I'm calling him more cowbell because it's 2 Mississippi State guys on the inside with him and Autry. Do you think that Big Jeff has been unlocked a little bit by having Danico next to him and vice versa? Because those 2 guys in particular seem to really be kind of feeding off of one another, almost like they're competing with each other to see who can be more dominant.
Yeah, that's Big Mo. You saw this firsthand in Pittsburgh when you had Watt and you had Dupree on the other end. When those guys get competitive, now you got Cam in the inside. Like, hold up. I'm trying to get a sack too, and that's what you like to see, man. I think I read somewhere where Harold, Simmons, and not how do you say his last name?
Harold Simmons.
The
talking
other
about Autry?
Autry?
Yeah, Autry. They're top 5 in pressures on the quarterback this year, and that's what you want to see, man. That competitive spirit going throughout the D line through the front. We're trying to get pressure. We're trying to get sacks, and once I get one, everybody else has to get one, and that's the competition you like. But I want to say this. My man Ryan Tannehill doesn't get enough credit. I remember sitting in these meeting rooms when he came on this team, and everybody was like, man, this is a great signing for you guys. If something happened to Marcus, he's going to take over. And that's exactly what this man has been doing since he got here. I remember him answering questions to the point where Vrabel was like, look, Ryan, I'm not asking you. Don't answer any more questions. I know you know. So this man, all he does is win. He didn't have a big stat line last week, but he controlled the game. He made the plays. He allowed his defense to help set up some things to where he can go out there and just relax and have fun and not make those mistakes. And that's the maturity that you want to see from a quarterback who's ready to go into the playoffs, who's ready to finish up this quarter of the season, the last 2 quarters of the season on top with a lot of dubs. And Tannehill, man, he doesn't get enough credit, but he is definitely one of the after Derrick Henry, he's probably one of the most important players in the NFL as far as importance being to a team.
As far as defensive player of the year, I kind of mentioned earlier, Jason threw in Diggs with the Cowboys. I'm throwing in TJ. I'm throwing in Myles Garrett, and I'm throwing in Kevin Byard. Pick one, Wes. Where you at right now, man?
Come on, man. I'm so sick and tired of seeing these defensive MVPs going to the rush-ins or guys that get a lot of sacks. Let's actually look at guys who control the game every week, guys that's going out there who's making big plays for their teams. And Kevin Byard has solidified himself as, 1, an all-pro candidate, 2, a Pro Bowl player, and 3, now I'm in the talks of being the best defensive player in this league. You don't think Kevin Byard takes notice of that, and he's going to go out there and continue to ball and have that success? And one thing that I love about Kevin is, man, he arises to every challenge that he's faced with. Coming in, he wasn't starting. He goes in the weight room, works his tail off week in and week out until he gets that starting spot, and he hasn't looked back, man. But this year, you could definitely see that Kevin has taken that leadership role in that defense and pick those guys up and put them on his back. And the clear thing about that is there's no beef, no animosity with anybody in the locker room. Everybody knows on that defensive side of the ball that this defense goes through Kevin Byard, and everybody understands and everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Wes, one other just quick thought. What credit or how much credit do you give Shane Bowen for what the defense has done? I know it comes down to the players on the field, but it does seem like they are being put in positions to succeed right now.
Yeah, man, a lot of times people want to see big, flashy defensive schemes, all of this. Sometimes, man, a defensive coordinator just has to make the right call and let his players play. You know, you see a lot of big plays happening on one-on-one coverages or one-on-one rushes, and you just let your players play. Like when you go through your check sheet during that week, you're like, okay, I know I'm gonna get KB lined up, matched one-on-one on a receiver, or he's gonna be covered 3 in the flat, or better yet, now I have an opportunity to create a one-on-one with one of my D linemen up front to expose one of their weaknesses. Let's get Jeffrey one-on-one. Let's get Harold one-on-one on the outside. So with that being said, I don't need a flashy system or a flashy scheme. Let me call the right play that's going to settle my guys in and settle my guys down and let them know that, hey, I'm calling your number. This is it. Go out there and eat. Go out there and ball and go out there and play. And that's what Coach Bowen is doing.
So when you have this Titans defense right now with the injuries they had to the secondary, now I got to ask you this too because you played in front of those guys and with those guys too in coverage sometime. But did the stress go up for when these guys went out earlier in the season, losing Farley, losing Fulton, just a bunch of injuries on the back end? And right now, it's unnoticeable. You don't hear about it. What has actually corrected what's happened on the back end of this defense?
I think they're just getting into their own form. You know, DBs are very competitive driven guys, and I think that the opportunity that a lot of those young guys are getting to go out there and play, they know that they can't screw around. Coach Brave does not allow that. If you go out there and make a mistake, your tail getting off the field. So I think it's more of a just guys continue to get their confidence, building that confidence throughout the season, and understanding that, hey, the only opportunity that I get is the one that's given to me right now, and I got to go and take that and take advantage of it. And who goes to say, man, I'm sure the Titans are – I hope that they don't, but if they do have another bad defensive game, to me, the marker, the ultimate sign of that is how will they bounce back the next week if they have a bad game defensively or giving up passes. Because, you know, that can happen. But looking at that schedule, man, I'm looking at my Titans, man. They got a chance to pull off an 11 or 12 win season going into the playoffs, and that's huge.
Yeah.
One other thing I would ask you, just because you can watch this with such a critical eye, Wes, is Bud Dupree. A lot of what he does, we have speculated and talked about on the show. You don't see it in a stat sheet necessarily, but as you're watching Bud, what are you seeing week in and week out in terms of maybe he's getting healthier or maybe he's starting to look more like the guy you thought you were getting?
Man, it sucks because anytime you come off of a substantial or big injury, like as a player, you're saying in your head mentally, like, I don't need any recovery time. I'm going to be coming back. I'm going to be back to my tip-top shape. And all the fans are like, hey, we paid this guy such and such millions of dollars. He better be picking it up. But what you're seeing now is a Dupree that's getting as close as he can to 99% being healthy. And I think, again, man, you got to think, like, he's been in the system, in a Pittsburgh system for his whole career to where you get comfortable as a player doing the things that you used to do. And when you go to a new team, a lot of guys don't realize this, is that you actually have to take a step back. You actually have to take a seat back and be like, okay, I agreed to come here to Tennessee. Where and how do I fit into this system, and how can I allow my talents to continue to pick up and make plays like I did in my previous team? But now you're just seeing a healthier, more confident Bud, and once Bud get going, man, that defense is really going to be scary, and I think they're going to cause a lot of problems in the playoffs. And a lot of guys like to talk, like you said earlier, the hot team. I always go back and think about the Green Bay Packers when they won the championship.
Whoa.
They got hot at the right time of the season. People were afraid of them. The Titans are going to be the same kind of team. Everybody's going to overlook them, but they're going to be hot. They're going to be ready to go. They're going to overlook them because there's no Derrick Henry. There's no, 8-man in the box anymore. We're gonna do a 2-high safety and stop the run. Keep thinking that and the Titans are gonna punch you in the mouth, and they're gonna be celebrating a lot of victories over at Nissan Stadium. Because right now, the way that they're playing, they're setting themselves up for the number 1 seed throughout the whole playoff.
Yeah, that game you're talking about, that year you're talking about with the Packers, they were a wild card. They came in red hot, beat the Cardinals in a classic game, then ended up in the Super Bowl. Who was it that they played against in that Super Bowl, Wes?
Man, I don't know. I think they had something. Maybe it was like the Terrible Towels or something like that. Was it the Pittsburgh Steelers? I think it was. Let's take a quick intermission right here. Congratulations, Big Mo, on you guys' win. I know you don't get a lot of chance to talk about your Steelers on the Titans network, but congratulations. That was a big win for you guys. I was more blown back by the Bears celebrating with a minute and 30, minute and 40 left to go. Like, you guys realize who you're playing. This is the Pittsburgh Steelers here. This is Big Ben. He can get a field goal anytime he wants to. But that was pretty good, man, to see the finale of that game. And congrats to you. You had yourself a hell of a weekend, my man.
I did, but I really don't appreciate that walk by shank you gave me. I knew what you were doing. I got you on the front end.
He stopped and asked for directions.
He did.
He came over to the car and he punched you right in the face.
Wes, what's wrong with you, man?
You know it's all love, man. I got to find a way to get my shots in there.
You know what? We got something else in common. Both of us are 0-1 in the Super Bowl. Take that.
Yeah. I'm logging off of my life right now. Oh, man.
It's a hard ride, Wes. It is to get there. You know this also, man. But it's going to be ups. It's going to be downs. And you want to just be in the show when you get the opportunity.
Yes, man. It's a blessing to get in that Super Bowl. Your whole life as a kid, you imagine yourself playing Thanksgiving football on Thanksgiving. Oh, I'm the Lions or I'm the Packers or I'm the Cowboys growing up. At the same time, as a kid, you're like, oh, this is a Super Bowl game. I want to get to the Super Bowl. So everything that you do is always about playing in the Super Bowl, growing up as a kid, going to college, getting into the pros. So when you get that opportunity, it's a huge blessing, and it sucks. It hurts.
Man.
It hurts worse than getting put out in the AFC Championship game versus being eliminated in the Super Bowl. But, man, that was a tough loss for us. It sucks, but I'm glad I got a chance to play in the Super Bowl. Yeah. I got a chance to play a lot of different positions, and I enjoyed it, but it was terrible seeing that blue and navy confetti falling down on my face at the end of the game, and I wasn't a winner.
Wes, we can all agree no one grew up wanting to be a Lion that then dreamed of playing in a Super Bowl.
Hey, you crazy. I wanted to be Barry Sanders. I don't know what you're talking about.
And even he left Detroit early.
Wes, we appreciate you, brother.
Maybe I was saying I want to be Barry Sanders, not the Lion.
There you go. We appreciate you, Wes. Thanks so much, brother.
Appreciate you.
Anytime, y'all have a good day.
Yeah, that's Wesley Woodyard. Yeah, you wanted to be Barry, and you wanted to be Megatron. Maybe Matthew Stafford. Maybe. That's about it. Be right back. JMart Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
Coming up today on the 3HL.
We broadcast live from Clarksville, Queen City. Here we come. Buffalo Wild Wings from 3 until 6 o'clock.
And we're going to talk Titans. Jimmy Wyatt back from the West Coast.